Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kenesha. This channel is called Lux Living for Less, and on this channel we try to find tips and tricks on how to still live a fabulous lifestyle on a for less budget. So by the title, you already know that I am going to share with you my top 10 tips of thrifting. You guys know I am an avid thrifter. I thrift before I even purchase retail, and now I want to share with you in case you're getting into thrifting. You want to dip your toe in the pond just to see how it is. I want to give you my 10 tips as a thrifter for beginners. So let's get started. Okay, the first tip that I have, and it is in my personal top 3, is don't go thrifting on an empty stomach. Don't go hungry. How many times have you been in the grocery store or the mall or any store for that matter, and you are distracted by hunger pains? Your stomach is talking. Your stomach is saying, feed me. And you are so overwhelmed with the thought of wanting to eat that you negate what it is you actually came to do. So my first tip is don't go hungry. All right, my second tip is have a plan. What are you looking for? Are you shopping for trends? Are you shopping for a particular style? Are you looking for a certain color? What is it that you're looking for? If you are a novice thrifter, it's important for you to have a plan because the thrift stores can be overwhelming. They are huge in some areas. The thrift store that I like to frequent here in my city, which coincidentally is literally called the thrift store, it is a huge, massive store. It is a former grocery store, and you all know how big grocery stores can be. So to a novice thrifter, walking into that can be quite overwhelming, and they really don't know where they want to go first. So I say, if you are a novice thrifter, have a plan about what it is you're looking for. So my third tip is be intentional. The thrift stores sometimes have prices that are so low, it almost puts you into a state of wanting to overconsume because the prices are so low, and it's sometimes hard not to purchase things that you may not even want. But if you're intentional with things that you're looking for, which goes back to having a plan, this will prevent you from over-consuming, overspending, and purchase those things that you are going to use and not have things that are just going to sit in your closet because when you got them home, you realize it really wasn't your own personal style. So number 3 is be intentional. All right, tip number 4 is be open to modifications. A lot of times the thrift stores will carry items that are vintage, and vintage clothing is not sized the same as it was of yesteryear. For instance, a size 14 by today's standards was probably truly about a size 8. So if you go into the thrift store and you see something that is larger than the size that you wear, go ahead and get it and try it on, because a lot of times you can manipulate that garment to still make it work. You can add a belt. There are a lot of things that you can do to make that garment work for you. I am a big advocate of tailoring. Even if you buy something off the rack in a retail store, those clothes aren't made to fit you. They're made to fit the masses. So a lot of times when you're buying things off the rack, whether it be thrifted or retail, invest a little bit of money to have it tailored. If you thrift it, then investing the money to have it tailored won't sting as much as having to spend the extra retail price and then having it tailored. So my tip number 4 is be open to modifications. Tip number 5, be patient. The thrift stores, you guys, are becoming increasingly more crowded these days, and it's because thrifting is becoming something that is starting to trend. And when something starts to trend, everybody wants to do it. With that comes a crowd. So on top of the regular thrifters that you now have the novice thrifters who are interested in seeing what the thrifting life is all about. So you're gonna have to exercise some patience in most cases and just take your time, be patient, and navigate your way through the thrift store. But my tip number 5 is be patient. Tip number 6, don't be afraid to venture outside of your area to go thrifting. A lot of times, especially if you are an avid thrifter like me, you become very familiar with the routine of the store. You kind of know what color is going to be on sale, and you kind of tend to predict what's going to be happening when it's going to be happening. However, don't be afraid to venture out and go to different thrift stores, even if it's a thrift store outside of your city. Thrift stores have different things. They get different donations. They source their items from multiple entities. So don't be afraid to venture out. As a matter of fact, you guys, as a side note, I am going to be going to Miami. I have been itching to get to Miami, and also to the red, white, and blue in Connecticut and the red, white, and blue in South Florida. So don't be afraid to venture out. Thrift stores have different things. They all don't have the same thing. So my tip number 6 is venture out. Tip number 7, and this is very important, familiarize yourself with brands. I cannot tell you all how many times I have stumbled upon things in the thrift store that are not the mainstream brands, like the Gucci's, the Fendi's, the Jimmy Choo's, whatever those mainstream brands are to you that you hear about all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I have stumbled upon designer goods in the thrift store that were priced extremely low, because the people that were pricing the items and putting them out on the floor, because it's not a mainstream brand, they didn't really know what it was. So as such, they priced it accordingly. One of the things that I like to tell people when they ask me, well, how do you know if it's expensive? When you touch something, you can tell if it's pretty good quality. And on top of that, honey, let Google be your friend. People are in the thrift store all the time. Resellers, people who have actual boutiques or stores that they source their items from the thrift stores to resell in their stores. They in there all the time, honey, on their phones, Googling it down, and I'm right there with them, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. Let Google be your friend. Familiarize yourself with the brands. Get out of the headspace that the only thing that is expensive are the ones that you hear about all the time. There are a lot of brands out there that are far more expensive than your Gucci's and Fendi's and Prada's and Jimmy Choo's. Trust me, I have some of them hanging in my closet right now that I have thrifted. So my tip number 7 is familiarize yourself with brands. All right, that brings us to our number 8 tip. My number 8 tip is for my ladies. Ladies, don't be afraid to shop the men's section. I cannot tell you how many times I have purchased things from the women's section, specifically bottoms, and either they are too big in the hip and too small in the waist, or too big in the waist and too small in the hip. And it just ends up being very ill-fitting because they fit one place but not both. I know a lot of you out there have that same issue. However, what I found is shopping in the men's section for their trousers fit women very well. If you think about it, men has clothes that are sized specifically to their size. 32 waist, 34 long, 34 waist, 31 long. Women, we have 8, 10, 12, 14. We don't have anything that is specific to our waist and our length. We kind of have to guess at it. I have a pair of Calvin Klein jeans right now that I purchased probably 3 years ago, before the whole cargo craze was a thing. I purchased these jeans in the thrift store, I think maybe $5, and they were too big in the waist for me at the time. They're men's. However, they were long enough in the leg. I took those bad boys and had them tailored. Y'all, those jeans fit me so good. And I bought these before cargos were the thing. Probably one of my favorite pair of jeans today. But I say that to say, don't be afraid shopping the men's section. Men's sections also have some of the best button downs, the best white shirts, the best t-shirts. Don't be afraid to shop the men's section. All right, tip number 9 is have a budget. Although the thrift store's pricing is not like it was maybe say a year ago, it's still relatively low by comparison. Now, having a budget when you go into the thrift store, number 1, it'll hold you accountable to say you're only going to spend a certain amount of money. and it'll keep you focused to not be put in a headspace of wanting to over consume. So my number 9 tip is have a budget. And my number 10 and final tip is have fun with it. Thrifting for me is very relaxing for me. I now am at a place where I am thrifting for other people. And although in theory it is a job, it doesn't feel like work to me because I love doing it. People who don't want to thrift, but they want the advantages of what comes with thrifting, I'm your girl. They contact me to do it and I don't mind. They will give me money. I will buy them their item. I will send it to them. And that's that. My husband, he will not, absolutely not go thrifting with me.
No.
But he loves the goodies that I bring home from any of my thrifting tips. So my number 10 and final tip is have fun. All right, you guys, well, that is it for this video. I hope I gave you all some good tips, especially if you are a novice thrifter, you wanted to get into thrifting, or you just needed some guidance on, how to navigate these thrifting streets. I know thrifting isn't for everybody, and I'm certainly not trying to persuade that onto you. However, what I will say is give it a chance. You may like it. My best friend today, literally today, she wanted to go thrifting for the very first time, and she has avoided thrifting this entire time because she says it gives her anxiety. But today she wanted to go, and y'all, when I tell y'all, I had to literally pull her out of the store because she was just, she wanted everything. And I was like, pump your brakes. But she was so happy that she went. She can't wait to go back. She was so excited with how little she spent for how much she got. Y'all, as I said before, I'm not trying to persuade thrifting onto you. It's not for everybody, and I totally get that, and I respect that. However, if you're thinking about it, if you've been saying, well, maybe, just give it a chance. You're never going to know until you actually try. And that goes with anything in life. So I hope you enjoyed this video, you guys. Drop down in the comments and let me know what tip you found most helpful. Until next time, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.